Hey guys, ladies, gentlemen, my name is Michael Trotman. I'm currently in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm at the Salvation Army in West Palm, and I'm a homeless veteran. I want to give an introduction because I plan to do a Bible study. So I'm not an authority on the Bible. I'm not even an authority under the Bible. I'm going to learn the Bible with you. But before we get into this, just in case somebody actually listens and watches this video or any of the videos to come, if there are even going to be any videos to come, these things need to be out there so that you know who you're looking at, who you're listening to. First of all, I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was an athlete as a kid. I was an only child raised by a single mother. And I pretty much stayed out in the neighborhood, the woods, or on the court, or the field, all of my adolescence, all my childhood. And, never really had any father figure around at all. So most of what I learned was either from television shows or hard-won experience, and through friends, fathers, or coaches, or not really any of my family. I had a real distant family. It was just really me and my mom. She had a couple of brothers, but they weren't, an integral part of my life in any kind of way. So I saw my dad a couple of times before I was 12. He had a bunch of Harley Davidsons. He was an iron worker, and he was a real rough dude. He was also a veteran. I am a veteran. I'm an infantry soldier from the U.S. Army. Served with 517 Cav over in Camp Pelham, Korea for a year, and spent some time on a tank there, a 4.2-inch mortar platoon. So it was 4 deuce mortars, and then I came to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and was a member of the Psycho Ward, which is battalion mortars for 2nd and 327, no slack battalion. I earned my EIB. I have air assault wings, and a couple of Army Achievement Medals. I did 2 years and 16 weeks, and I got out. I got out because I had met a girl, Melissa. She was pregnant. We didn't want to have a military family, and I had opportunities back in Charlotte. She was a very, very bright girl. Real quick about her, after 5 years of marriage, she had endured enough of my abuse, and she left me. And she had a lot tighter family than I had, and they took her in and helped her get back on her feet. She had our 4-year-old daughter, Madison, with her, and she raised Madison. And Madison's a beautiful 29-year-old married success. And Melissa after she got out from under my hell, she became a nurse, a cardiac nurse, and did really well. She had some strokes in 2013 and some more strokes in 2017 and passed away. Just heart crushing for all of us, including myself. And she's a beautiful soul. She's really a beautiful soul, and she gave our marriage everything she could, but the abuse was bad, and for her and our daughter, it was best for her to do what she did, and I commend her very much for that. So, with that being said, I love her family, our daughter, and I just want to thank Melissa's family for stepping in and helping her and helping my daughter. And thank you so much. After that, I worked in the cabling industry. I did network cabling. I was a foreman, or am a foreman in that field. Have been for quite a few years. I met another girl. She was a neighbor, and of course, I wasn't following Christ. There was no Jesus in my life. I was smoking crack. I was going to work. I was making good money. and I was spending it before I could get the next check in. So I was living week to week all my life, and met Jen. Jen was a really good girl, and she's, you know, was faithful, and she was a lot younger than me, but we got pregnant, and we had Shelby, and we moved in together. After we got pregnant, we moved in together. We had Shelby. I swore that I was going to stay in that one, and but my use and my insecurity overcame that relationship as well, and I was abusive to Jen, and I went to work one day, and when I got home, she was gone, and God bless her. God bless her for that. She didn't deserve to live like that. Unfortunately, that now made the second woman in my life that I had abused and the second daughter in my life that I had abandoned. A couple of weeks after she decided to leave, or after she left, after she got out from under this hell, I made a decision that I wasn't going to use anymore. I was going to get my life together, and I was going to fix this. And then I got paid and screwed it up. And so I reached out and ended up in South Florida in treatment. And went through treatment. Did what they tell you to do in treatment. Went to meetings, got numbers, did all that stuff, and I lasted 9 months. And thought that I was going to get back with Jennifer. We had she had come down to Florida, and we had a little weekend together, and it just. She, and then she said one day that she had wanted to see someone else. And so, so much for trying to get sober. I was traveling on the road working, and I picked up right after we got off the phone. I just, I was always trying to save things in my life and protect what I thought was mine. But the truth of the matter was that I just had no clue. I didn't have a clue, man. So that was in 2003. Shelby was about a year old, and basically she just she terminated my rights to Shelby, and I looked at that as like a blessing because I didn't have to pay child support, and didn't have to worry about it anymore. I could wipe my hands clean and walk on, and I apologize, Shelby, for that, because you deserve better. And I'm sorry, Jen, for leaving you to foot the bill for a child that I knew better. I knew better than to do these things to you or Melissa, and to Madison and Shelby. And I want to just bring my mother back into it, because she did everything she could to bring the girls together and to be the grandmother that God called her to be. And she did everything that she could. And so I want to commend Mom again for that. Great job, Mom. All right. Let's get into some dirt. Now I'm down in Florida. I'm using, and I can't stop. Once I started, I was on it. And I'm talking about smoking crack. I ain't talking about like just, storing powder on Thursday night and not being able to stop until the bag's gone on Saturday or Sunday. No, them days were long gone. Now and let's just say that it was a daily pursuit. It was a daily pursuit. And I now know that all I was doing was pursuing comfort from the shame and the guilt that I had for the way I had lived and was living. And it just got worse every day. Every day it got worse. And then maybe I would get a little chunk of money or something like that, and I would, I might get 60 days clean, and I want to reach out and, hey, babe, how you doing? Can I talk to my daughter? I made promises to my children. I made promises, and I made promises to their mothers, and I broke my children's hearts, and I broke their hearts. And I made myself look like a real jerk, just a real jerk. And because I was a real jerk. Uh, chased women all over the place. Chased my next hit all over the place. Chased acceptance all over the place. You know, my best friends that I grew up with, guys that used to party alongside of me, that tightened up when their girlfriends said it's time to tighten up, and got married. Most of them are still married and they have beautiful families, and it's something I like to look at on Facebook and then compare myself to. And but the truth is that I couldn't be tamed, man. There was a stronghold on me, and it was going to take me where it wanted to take me, and it did. It took me down that rabbit hole. Um, so I'm in Florida now. I'm not working. In 2006, I go back to the Carolinas. Running havoc there. Um, I meet up with some thugs, and we're doing licks all over the place. And I'm kind of like one of those road runner guys. I'm on the road. I'm in the streets, and I'm at this point in time, I know the east side of the country pretty well, and I committing crime. That's all I did. That's the only thing I knew how to do, because I had at this point become unemployable. So no license, couldn't pay. I couldn't even pay my tickets when I got them for speeding or whatever it was. Now I'm riding in the rear view everywhere I go. My face is out there on the streets, and people are getting to know Trotman as just kind of a big, if you know what I mean. So long story short, or short story long, however this is going to end up. In Ohio, committed some crimes under the influence to the point where I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. Uh, Came back to Charlotte, had a whole bunch of money in my pocket, enough money to um, catch up on child support, change, I had enough money to change my life financially wise. I could have started a business, taking care of my kids in a way, come on, man. Like, come on, man. And instead, I spent it in a month or two. And so that was 2006. I ended up back down in Florida, and I'm trying to work, but I'm really just in the streets, man. And I'm talking about, like, I'm in the streets. In 2008, I meet Melinda. We're both in a halfway house, and it's we kind of hit it off at first sight. And I remember us, every chance we get, trying to link up, and we were really toxic for each other. We didn't stay sober. We moved into a room for rent in a place. I remember she went to jail. I was working at the time, making decent money, and then I got a little check from the VA. And she gets out of jail. We spent 10 grand in a week, literally in a week. And at the end of that week, we went to fighting and arguing and make up sex, and fight and argue and make up sex. And that was the nature of our relationship from 2009 to 2013. We were, neither one of us were honest. Neither one of us was sober. Neither one of us was healthy in any regard. In 2009, we had our son Tyler, and we couldn't even pay for our son's diapers. You know what I mean? We couldn't stop smoking crack, man. We couldn't, and we ended up back up in North Carolina for a little bit. Come back down to Florida. One thing about it is, near the end of our relationship, we used to go to this little church that was in the trailer park. Now, this has to be part of my testimony, because you don't hear it. He's not even on Jerry Springer. But at one point in time, we lived together. Me and Melinda and Tyler lived. She had another baby daddy named Craig, And she had Craig's best friend, a guy named Mike, who was her fiance. Well, all of us lived in the same trailer. Yeah, so I lived in a trailer with my girlfriend, her other baby daddy, and her ex-fiance, and the kids. At this point in time, I used to panhandle. I used to hold a cardboard sign out on the side of 95. I was going to jail once a month for panhandling. I had already been to jail once or twice for putting my hands on Melinda. And Melinda had been to jail once or twice for, whatever she had done, possession of drugs, or I think she put it, I don't know. I don't want to, that's irrelevant. Both had toxic stuff going in our lives, and the devil had a stronghold on both of us. And but we had a beautiful son named Tyler, and we were split up. A year later, we get back together. She gets pregnant again, and that was Sarah, which is my third daughter, my fourth child. And there's not really a whole lot to say. Melinda and I lived in the streets. We've spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. I would get up in the morning and go hustle. And, I call hustling, like trying to sell dope to the people coming in town. At that time, the pill thing was real big down here in Florida. People were coming from all over. And so I was in that little game, and I was panhandling. So we were around the hotels, and we were in the hood, and, knew a lot of people around here in the streets. Pretty much everybody knew us. And, so did the sheriffs, so did the West Palm Beach Police and the Palm Beach Gardens Police. And, it just is what it is, man. That's what, doesn't take too long to get noticed. We split up. I remember there was a news story one time about how I was scamming the public, which really wasn't true, but they went with it. And, it was pretty embarrassing. Long story short, I end up in 2013, I'm on the side of 95 with a sign. Now, this is the first real interaction I had with God. It's a Tuesday morning. It's a Tuesday morning, about 10 o'clock. I'm out there with my sign, struggling. I ain't making no money. I'm hot, sweaty. And I just remember thinking, Muslims pray to the east. And to show Ancient Aliens, don't they talk about the Anunnaki coming from? Come on, man! I'm smoking every day. Come on, think. I said, all right, I got nothing to lose here, man. I'm struggling. So I looked east. That's east to me right now. I looked east. I said, Jesus, if you're real, you'll give me $200 and you'll tell me you love me. Now, I'm on the side of 95 on the exit ramp, and when I look east, the sun is just coming up over the bridge. And I scream it. I scream it at the top of my lungs. Jesus, if you're real, you'll give me $200 and tell me you love me. Go back to flying my sign, not even thinking nothing about it. It's a dead-ass Tuesday morning. Excuse my language. It's dead. I'm ready to go take a break. I see this white Jag come around the bend. And, I was one of those panhandlers that didn't approach people. I just, I would make eye contact. And I tell you the truth, I could tell right away, if we were going to be able to do business, and I move it on down the line. But here's the thing. This lady pulls up in a white Jag. There ain't no other car on the ramp. And I just look at her and I can see she's doing something. Man, she's getting money out of her purse. I already know. Come on, man. And I look at her and she looks, so we make eye contact and she rolls down her window. And I give her the old, that shame look. She's like, and I walk over there all calm, and she's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but when I saw you, I came around the turn, and when I saw you, something came over me, and I knew I had to do this for you. And she hands me not one, two. They were together. I thought they were one. So when I pulled them apart, I look back at her and she's like, and she goes to roll up her window, right? Get this. She says, something came over me and I knew I had to do this. It was $200 bills, blue hundreds. I'm not, look, these things came straight from the print. Nobody had ever spent these before. These are brand new hundreds. Light changes, she goes on. I literally look up in the sky. I look up and I'm waiting for the sky to open. And Jesus come and say, Michael, I love you. That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting. Come on, man. You know, I had never, in 4.5 years of panhandling in South Florida, ever had somebody give me $200 bills at the same time. Never. Had people pay for rooms. I've gotten hundreds. Let me tell you, never once had I gotten $200 bills at the same time. Now, remember, we're toxic. I'm using. I ain't in a relationship with Jesus. I'm not in a relationship with anything else other than the crack pipe in this toxic relationship with Melinda. About 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes goes by, and that money is done set on fire in my pocket. I'm talking about, it's hot. I go to pack up my stuff. I done wrote it off as coincidence because I thought about the prayer. Don't get me wrong. Don't think I didn't look. But you remember, I looked up there. I'm waiting for the sky to open. The sky ain't open. Coincidence. I'm putting my sign in my bag and, I look up. There ain't no cars there, but there's this old beat up Datsun truck coming around the bend. Now, I'm talking about when I say like 1980 Datsun. It was a Datsun pickup truck. The little, ain't but two doors. There ain't the windows right there against the back seat. You're, a Toyota Camry is looking down at you in this thing. It's one of them old. You only see them in Asia or third world countries now. You still see them, but the guy pulls up, and I've already put my sign in my bag, and he's like, "Hey, bro." That's what he said. He said, "Hey, bro." Now, just for a moment, Jesus. He looked like our pictures of Jesus, but on meth. That's what long, scraggly, brown hair, just the dude was worse off than I am. At the time, hell, I got 200 in my pocket. He's worse off than me. Look, one thing about me, I was homeless, but I had hotel rooms and I cleaned up because I had an appearance to maintain. Okay. And this guy calls me over and he's all in his truck fidgeting around. I'm like, what's this guy doing, man? Like, just, but I'm, a panhandler with couth or manners or, whatever you want to call it. Like I'm, I don't push. I just, try to remain humble. And that's really a big part of me. That's the humility. Like I don't deserve anything anybody gives me. And I always thought that way, that it's their gift. And, so this guy's fidgeting around and all of a sudden he's just like, he pulls up a water bottle. Literally the water bottle is like, that much water in it. Got sand all over it. The floorboard's all dirty in his truck. He's like, if you're thirsty, this is all I got, man. I don't know. I don't have really nothing to give you. I'm like, sorry, man. He says, no. I go to turn to walk away. Like, he says, no. Listen, man, I wasn't even supposed to get off at this exit, bruh. That's what he said, bruh. He said, I wasn't even supposed to get off at this exit. But when I came around that turn and I saw you, something came over me and I knew. Jesus wants you to know he really, really loves you. And the light turned green, and he went straight across and got back on the interstate. I went back to the hotel. Melinda's mother had showed up. They go to Target to get some burgers and things like that with one of the $100 bills. And I called the dope man, spent the other $100 bill on crack. And I tried to smoke it before they made it back. Literally, I tried to smoke the whole $100 worth of crack before they made it back. She walks in the door. This cloud comes pouring out of the room. She's cussing me out. I literally had already forgotten all about. I don't know. Maybe it was the shame in me that I couldn't deal with the encounter I just had. I never ever questioned whether Jesus was real. Never ever questioned whether Jesus is real or not from that day on. Never again will I ever question whether he's real or not. Now, a few months later, that conviction got to me a little bit. And I had warrants. I had lost my VA benefits. I couldn't, you know, shit was rough, man. Shit was rough. I'm talking about I got open cases all over the country now. I got, shit was rough, man. Me and Melinda are fighting. I looked at her one morning. I said, I'd rather wake up in prison than do this. I had about 16 felony warrant hanging over my head up in Ohio. I went and got on the bus. I got on the Greyhound. I made my way up to Ohio. I turned myself in. I had a lot of support, especially from my mother. When I called her out of the blue one day, I said, Mom, I'm going to turn myself in. She's like, stop by here on your way. Mom paid to help me get bonded out. Mom paid for an attorney. And I think the bond was really worth it. But, I walked into a courtroom that wouldn't come and get me in 20-something arrests down in Florida. I walked in there and I looked at throw him in the cage, Sage, giving away more time than any other judge in the state of Ohio. And I told him, listen, man, I'm not here because you guys came and got me. I'm here because I'm on a mission to change my life. And this is the first thing I needed to do was answer up for this. So for 16 felonies, he gave me a year probation. And I found a church, Celebration Church in Mason. And I got baptized. I met a beautiful girl named Christy. And we started dating. And, we decided we wanted to get married. About a year and a half later, I was still on probation. We were living in sin. And our pastor said, listen, guys, y'all can't keep doing that. You need to come, let's do some marriage counsel classes and let's get you married. And until then, quit doing that stuff. Quit doing that stuff. And, I didn't listen to him. Christy was a good girl. That was the first healthy relationship I ever had in my life. The only one I ever had in my life. We never even cussed at each other for what, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was, until the last day after she called me looking at porn. What really happened was I got my stuff together. You know what I mean? I got my license back and I was employable and I was working and making money. And the enemy started talking in my ear. You really want to stay up here in Ohio? You really want to stay with just one girl? Here I'm looking at porn. Man, I was helpless. I was so helpless. And a helpless man creates hopeless women. She told me to get the F out. And I did. I got out. And I went right back to the old ways. And I took that destructive behavior back to Charlotte, started stealing from my mother. And dementia was kicking in. Her church stepped in, kicked me up out of her house. I wrecked my car. I wrecked her car. I wrecked any chance of having a decent relationship with anybody in the family. But what I did it to her. is I didn't stand up and act like a man. I didn't care for my mother. I didn't honor my mother. Do any of that. I just kept running. I didn't even know that my own daughter had to come up and move my own mother out of her own home and into nursing. I was in jail or in the street chasing dope. So if you're looking at a man, abandon his children, abuse his wives, or abuse, call them wives. When you have a family, you're living together. It's not a wife, but it is, should have been four of those. And my own mother. I left Charlotte. The streets got hot for me, and pretty much wasn't welcome in Charlotte, man. I had people that don't even know me after me. Stupid shit I did. I got back down to Florida. A friend that I'd known almost 20 years told me to come on down. And Gary had a home. I got there, it wasn't a home. It was a mess. And he was a mess. And a friend of ours, Todd, that was there, was a mess. And I was a mess. And I had started stealing from stores up in the Carolinas. I'd done it off and on for years, but, really wasn't my thing. But when I hit Florida, I was full speed, retail booster. And talk about every day. All the Lowe's, all the Home Depots, all the Publix, all the Targets, all the Walmarts, Best Buys. Anything that had a big name on it. Once I learned that they wouldn't really do nothing to you. I mean, now later on, once they figure out who you are, you're in a lot of trouble. But it took a while to catch up to me. It took a long time to catch up to me. And I supported a lot of habits from boosting from those stores. And I just say this. I was so lost. And I had so much shame. And you know what everybody that used to get high with me, you know what they would say? Why do you do this to yourself? Why do you do this to yourself? Look at you. You know what I used to? I used to hit that shit and I would see snakes and alligators and think people were coming around the corners to get me. I'd be stalked for hours. Every time. What's that? What's that? Who's that? Who's that? Come on, man. I never, not once, enjoyed a hit of crack. Not one time, first time. I'm talking about 90 something. It was somewhere different than here in the mirror. That's what it was. Now I'm talking about it was traumatic. Being in a room full of snakes. Come on, man. Traumatic. We're at 35 minutes. I want to wrap this up. I went to jail. I spent a year in jail. I got out of jail. Went right back to the same stuff. Went back in front of the same judge. Got another year in jail with some years of probation. I knew when I was getting out of jail, I couldn't do the probation. So I went and did more crime. Then went to prison. I did 18 months in the Florida State, right down there in South Florida, and the South Unit right next to it. In prison, I had a drug habit. It wasn't crack. They didn't have that where I was at. They had that Tucci. They had that paper dope. Yeah, they did. Now, let me just say this. When I got to reception, I walked in my room, the room that I was assigned to, the little 2-man cell. About 6 guys in there smoking them damn things. Might have hit that shit one time. I wasn't in prison, but I could hear everybody in the whole camp talking and laughing about my ass. I ain't gonna lie to you. Everybody. How about? I heard them. And then I was scared. I'm like, holy shit, man, this might be some real shit here. Scoop ball. Yeah. Well, sometimes dirty words come out about dirty things. Okay. About 6 months I was in, had already been transferred to my little camp next door. And the guys will tell you, I was the worst one on the camp. I was the worst one. I was running up I ran up huge tabs with like half a dozen people. And then I couldn't even pay. I had to hit my knees, boy. It was the first. Everybody counted on that money. The whole camp counted on it. They didn't know it, but they were really counting on me to come through and pay all my debts. Hell, I owe people that owed the same people that I owed. I ain't had nothing. I knew I didn't have nothing coming. I couldn't stop because I didn't want to look here. I didn't want to see none of this. I didn't want to think about none of that. Now I got here, and I sure as hell didn't want to think about where I was going to go. I got on my knees. I said, Jesus, please. You know, I need you right now. I know you're real because you showed me that. I need you right now because it ain't looking good right now. And I woke up the next morning, be like, where's that money at? Phone. Oh, man, I'm by the end of the day, they was just like, man, come on, man, what's going on? What we got to do? I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to pay you. Man, I really want to crash it, but so we ain't worth it. It ain't even worth it. All right. Well, look, I ain't gonna smoke. I ain't even gonna smoke cigarettes. I used to get packs. Everything done. I ain't touch another thing except some apples from the cafeteria one day, and I felt guilty about them. 6 months. Mentee of the month, community service award, a stack of certificates that thick, thicker than my glasses. Yeah. I went from the worst junkie on the pound to senior coordinator in my dorm. Whatever that was. Houseman. Yeah, I spent my last 6 months either reading the Bible, joking with guys on the pound about how much better life is now, or scrubbing them bathrooms and toilets. Trust me, my dorm was clean because that was a form of worship. I got out of prison. I was doing good. The VA, I got my benefits. I'm going to school to be a drug counselor. All of a sudden, that school money hit. Bam, gone. I got a year and 3 weeks clean. Literally. No cigarettes, no nothing. A year and 3 weeks. I go out the door. Yeah, real talk. I done talked to my daughter. She mad at me because I had gone to Texas and came back talking about Shelby. So now she ain't talking to me. But I'm in school and I take off chasing a girl. And then that's a year ago. October, that's a year ago. Man, I lost about 50 pounds. Let me tell you something about it. Look, it's a lot of things out there people do to lose weight. One thing that's inevitable, when you hit that shit, you're gonna lose weight. Stem fast. Think it ain't playing. So I lost 50 pounds in 50 days. I went from 208 to 158. I ain't lying. By November, just I don't think I even ate in October. Matter of fact, I don't remember eating for the whole last like 9 months. So now I done caught a new charge. You know what's crazy is God still continued to bless me through these moments, through these times. I'm back. Done got kicked out of the VA housing thing. All of a sudden, hey, Michael, with the HUD Fast program, we have your voucher. Talking about I'm finna get an apartment. I'm living in halfway houses. And not only that, another veteran offered me a really nice job. Now I'm like, hold on, man. I take off to Texas for a few weeks. Go stay with Gary, my best friend, one of my best friends, Gary. And I'm like, hey, I need to get clean, man, so I can pass this drug test for the job. And I got housing and da, 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 da. I get clean for a couple of weeks. I come back to Florida now. And I get my apartment. I'm right there on the corner of Broadway and Blue Heron. If you know, you know. I'm hitting stores. I'm running through credit cards. Man, come on, man. I'm not going to put no names out there, but me and some people. And that went from February all the way up to about June. And then Palm Beach Gardens intervened. And then a special DTEC came through with his little 2 cents. Next thing you know, I'm cased up again. Now, look, I know I got to do something. I got to go to the VA and get my stuff together and get cleaned up. I can't go into the courtroom 145 pounds. I can't do it, man. I'm not going to catch no break in the courtroom at 145 pounds. Nope, not one. They talking about 3 to 5 years, right? Come on, man. I had come a long ways in a year and a month. I had come a long ways. You know, when I got out of prison, I had warrants in 5 states. 5 states. Them little certificates. Oh, look what all I'm doing. Look how good I've been. Dismiss. Just pay the fine. One judge says, what should I do? So I don't know, Judge. I drop that one, do that one. Okay, that's what I'll do. It's amazing when you are on the right track and when you are, I don't know how to say it because I really wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? I had bought myself a large print ESV study Bible. Nice leather. I bought that when I was in prison. I bought this when I was in prison. Went through the church behind bars with Tony Loeffler. Look, you know what I got here? You get a receipt. Well, here you go. What's that say? Yeah, that's the receipt, the mail receipt. Long story short, I got cased up. Now, and I'm facing them cases right now. But I got somebody going before me. So I came to the VA. I got myself checked in. I'm over there in the detox up the hill. They call it 3C here in West Palm. I spent about 2 weeks there, and I get a bed at the domiciliary down the hill. It ain't my first rodeo at the domiciliary, trust me. I go in, I meet with the doctor, give me my little room key, I'm checked in, I put my stuff on my bed, turn around, right on out. Right on out. I'm going to get me a pack of smokes. No, I'm going to get me a vape. I'm going to get my buddy here that was up the hill with me. Hey, you going off post? Because we ain't supposed to go off the campus. I live a mile and a half from the VA on the same road on Blue Heron. An apartment that I've just been through hell in. I'm there. And I ain't got no clothes. So I'm finna to go, I got some money. I'm finna go get my clothes. Get me a vape, come on back, be back plenty of time before your curfew. That was Friday, about 12:30 in the afternoon. I didn't even go in the house. I go to the ATM machine and call my dude that lives right there next to the first house, right there, right? Friday, I didn't eat lunch Friday. I started smoking. And I ain't stopped smoking. I ain't drink no water. I ain't eat nothing. I went from 184 pounds to 155 pounds in 5 days. I went from having a little bit of money in the bank to nothing. Nothing. On my TV that I had a little wired up antenna up into the blinds. On the TV, I only had 2 stations. Home Shopping Network and Andy Griffith. And there's Andy Griffith. He's got a little girl sitting. This is Tuesday morning, the 15th. Got a little girl sitting on his lap, and I don't know. Look, I'm out of my mind. I'm out of my mind. I've been up 5 days, 4 days, whatever. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Going on, fitting to be Tuesday night. Listen, I'm out of my mind, and I'm being condemned by my daughter Madison through the TV. The little girl sitting on Andy Griffith's lap looks like my daughter when she was about 5, 6. Cute freckles. Looks like her. And she's just saying, my daddy won't never get better. My daddy won't never get better. I'm talking about condemnation, my friends. Condemnation. And on my phone, my apartment ain't but 2 rooms, and you can't be in one without knowing something going on in the other. And on my phone, I got Joby Martin, the pastor up there in 1122 in Jacksonville. Look, let me tell you something about Joby. When I prayed for discernment in prison, a lot of stories. We'll get to them one day. I was led. My Pando app, that's where I was led. Joby Martin. And you know what the first sermons I heard from him was? Act Like Men, from back in 2012. Listen, let me tell you something. Go listen to Act Like Men. Go listen to it. After what I told you, ooh. He said in one of them, talking about, if you're still here after getting your ass beat for the last 2 weeks, see. Huh. I hear him talking on my phone, but he ain't preaching that. And I don't even know what he's preaching. I don't know. I always put on 1122 on my phone. Always. YouTube, I just put on something, deep in or whatever it is. A small, still voice came to me. I don't know if it was through that. I don't know what happened. I just remember my daughter condemning me and a small, still voice comforting me and telling me, now, he ain't telling me nothing. Michael, what are you doing here? Michael, what are you doing here? Oh, no. I got a plan for you, Michael. Okay. I called my dog. I said, man, I'm sick. I need help. Come get me to the VA. I'll be there in a minute. Thank you, Keith. I got here that Tuesday night. I'm out of my mind. Keith stopped, bought me a beer. You know what I'm saying? I had some weed. I, I couldn't have gone in there without that. I'm telling you right now. I was 1 million miles an hour, 5 days, irk and jerk like it was my work. And I remember being in the emergency room and feeling like everybody was condemning me. And da, da, da. They didn't want to give me no help. They didn't. They did not want to give me no help. That's the VA. I've been in there, I don't know, a dozen times. The shift that's at the ER, they know who I am. They don't like me. You got a lot of people in the VA system. Let me tell you, it ain't the VA system. It ain't people in the VA. It's just people, man. It's just people. It's personalities. There was no compassion for me. Not one iota of compassion that came from this world, from that institution, from the people. None. I finally get upstairs hours later. I lay down. I've been asleep a couple hours. Doctor wakes me up. Come on, man. I'm getting you ready to get out of here. I say, hell no. I ain't going nowhere. Definitely not going back where I came from. I'm not going back where I came from. Listen, I need you to get up. Leave me alone. Please, I'm sick. I'm tired. Just please. Nah, you got to finish this interview, man. Come on, get up, sit up. Come on, back. Better get up out of my room right now. Better get out of my room right now. I came here and you're going to help me. That was the morning of the 16th. And he left the room. I fell asleep. I woke up. I don't know if it was, I don't know what time it was. I don't know the next, but I do know this. God had me in a comfort zone. On July 16th, he became my Lord. Not just my Savior, my Lord. And because he's my Lord, I read the word. I go to him and I ask him questions. I tell him my scenarios. I, I keep it real. I keep it real. And I participate in the community around me with the men that come and interact with me. I read the word. I'm starting to read. Let's just say this. I'm starting to read the word. All right. See them little tabs? I'm learning how to set myself up. And so before I show those to you, I'm going to say this. On July 16th, I made a commitment to give my life to Christ, a real commitment. 2013, when I got baptized, I believe I understood. Remember 2012 or 13 when he proved to me he was real? I'm just saying, he's real. What he did on the cross, that's real. But it wasn't until July that it sunk in that he did it for me. He did it for me, not for not for a Southern Charlotte boy that needed to get off dope, not for the son of Dot Hoffman, who was a good and faithful servant. Nope. Not for Dot Hoffman that's up in heaven that said, hey, well, maybe. I don't know. She probably got a lot of clout up there. Let me tell you what. She got a lot. Ain't no doubt in my mind. And her daughter-in-law, Melissa, she was a good and faithful servant too. This right here tells me he did it for me. And that day, I felt it. I, for the first time in my life, I actually believed the work of the cross washed away my sins and gave me a righteous standing before God. Not people, not institutions, God. I knew then I got open case. I'm in debt. I'm about to lose my apartment. All that. Wherever you take me, God, wherever you take me, this is coming with me. Now listen, real carefully, because that's enough about me. This is it. This is a couple weeks later. Here now, what? This is except it was July, September, 60 days. Come on, man. We finna get into this. We finna get into this, and if you want to, you can join me. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use these videos to reflect upon myself, to get better, get stronger, and be the man God called me to be. You see the tabs. So we open this book up, right? Let's get these. These are all side notes and souvenirs. The red tabs are for things from the Act Like Men sermon series that I listen to that's refining me, okay? So anything where you see red, those are places in this Bible that come out of that sermon series. The yellow is like a caution color, watch. And it's literally the nature and character of Satan. So anywhere you see yellow, and there's look, there ain't but a couple. There's one. There's more to come. We're going to put some more in there. Look, I got my tabs right here. So when I'm in a disciple group or I'm listening to the forging table or something like that, I got my tabs ready. Then we got, what is this? I got to see too, guys. It's green. The nature and character of Jesus, the nature and character of God the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. So we got yellow. I don't know why. I probably should have put red for the devil, but it's not. It's Act Like Men is red. The nature and character of Satan is yellow. The nature and character of God is green. And then we have blue, the fruits and gifts of the Spirit, the character of a believer. So you can see there's some red for the Act Like Men. There's a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, and there's some purple. There's a lot of purple too. What is purple? Life verses. Easy stuff to call on. So I don't know how we're going to do this, but at some point in time, also, back when I was in prison, I thought I was going to do like the 12 steps, and I got to step 1. And I think I got EOS out or something, but that's okay because, there's the 12 steps. Let me just real quick. I don't know. They literally will walk you into a relationship to deepen with Jesus. If you work them steps and use this word, you will develop and deepen a relationship with Jesus. That's true. Just is. So thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Michael Trotman, and next time you see me, we'll be in Galatians 1. So go ahead and read up on Galatians 1. That's where we're going to go. It's been a whole hour.